What if the richest man you've ever met had a secret that could change your life, but you had to see the world differently to uncover it? What if everything you thought you knew about success was wrong? And one small act of kindness shattered the world of both a wealthy businessman and a struggling artist, in a way that neither of them could have predicted. Stay tuned, because this isn't just a story about money. It's about the power of kindness, the hidden struggles behind success, and how one small change can ripple through lives. This is a tale that will make you rethink what really matters in life. Before we dive into the full story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with stories that touch the heart and challenge the norms. Let's get started. It was a gray, rainy evening in the bustling city center. Sarah, an aspiring artist, sat alone in a small, dimly lit cafe, her face illuminated only by the flickering candlelight on the table. The cafe's warm ambience was a sharp contrast to the chill creeping through the window, but it couldn't erase the heaviness in Sarah's heart. Her life had taken a turn she didn't expect. With each sip of her coffee, she stared blankly at the canvas in front of her. A canvas that was supposed to represent her breakthrough, her moment to shine. But after months of rejection from galleries and constant doubts creeping into her mind, she was ready to walk away. She wasn't even sure if her art mattered anymore. Her rent was overdue, and the bills stacked up like reminders of failure. She had been so close to giving up on everything she once believed in until, the stranger walked into the cafe. Sarah barely noticed the man at first. He was tall, impeccably dressed, with a sharp suit that looked too expensive for the quiet cafe. He entered with an air of authority, as if he owned the place, shaking off the raindrops from his coat with practiced precision. But despite his polished exterior, there was something in his eyes, something tired and worn, like he had been carrying a burden for too long. He walked past Sarah's table, but then, almost as if on impulse, he stopped. "Excuse me, miss," the man said, his voice smooth and confident, but there was a hint of curiosity beneath it. "Do you mind if I take a look at your painting?" Sarah looked up, startled. The man had clearly seen something that caught his attention. Despite herself, she nodded. "Go ahead," she said, her voice hesitant. "It's not much, but I'm still working on it." The man studied the painting, his brow furrowing slightly. "It's interesting, but it doesn't quite speak to me. There's no real emotion here, no depth. It's just colors on a canvas," he said, his words blunt and direct. A rush of irritation flooded Sarah. Who was he to judge her work? He didn't know anything about her struggles, about the years she had poured into perfecting her craft. Yet, she stayed silent, not wanting to engage with someone who clearly couldn't understand her vision. "The thing about art," the man continued, "is that it has to be commercial. People need to see it and buy it for it to have any value." Sarah clenched her jaw, feeling a twinge of anger. She had heard these words before from critics, from art dealers who only cared about making money. "You can't put a price on passion," she said quietly, trying to keep her composure. The man looked at her, his expression unreadable. "You're right," he said after a long pause. "But in my world, everything has a price." He turned to walk away, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about him. He seemed so sure of himself, yet there was an emptiness about him, a void that his wealth and success couldn't fill. Later that night, Sarah walked back to her tiny apartment, her mind racing. The man's words had stayed with her, gnawing at her. He was right, in a way. She couldn't keep making art for herself, hoping someone would notice. She had to find a way to make her passion into something people would appreciate, something that could give her the life she dreamed of. As Sarah arrived home and walked up the stairs, she saw the same man again, standing outside the building's entrance, looking lost. His expensive coat was now drenched from the rain. He looked up when he noticed her approaching. "You," he said, his voice softer than before. "You're the artist, right?" Sarah nodded, slightly taken aback. "Yes, that's me," she said, not sure what else to say. He stepped forward, hesitated, and then spoke, his tone almost apologetic. "I didn't mean to offend you earlier. I guess I'm just not used to seeing things outside of business terms. It's just who I am." "Don't worry about it," Sarah replied, unsure of why she felt the need to soften her response. "I understand." But the man didn't leave. He lingered for a moment before saying, I'd been thinking about your painting all night. Maybe I was wrong. There's something there. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Sarah stared at him, wondering if he was just being polite. It's okay, she said, ready to end the conversation. I'm sure you've got more important things to do than talk about my art. To her surprise, the man shook his head. Actually, I don't. I've been running from something my whole life. I think I've been trying to buy my way into happiness, but it's not working. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need to stop thinking about what's valuable and start thinking about what truly matters. The next day, Sarah's life took an unexpected turn. The man, whose name she learned was Richard, contacted her with an offer. He had purchased one of her paintings, the one she thought was just a failure. But he wasn't just interested in the artwork. Richard wanted to help her showcase her talent to the world. He offered to help sponsor her first solo gallery exhibition, promising to cover all costs. It wasn't just about the money, he said. He had come to realize that art wasn't just for the rich, it was for the soul. And Sarah's art had something her world needed. Months later, Sarah stood at the opening of her exhibition, surrounded by people who admired her work. Richard stood by her side, but they were no longer just strangers. They had formed a bond through their shared understanding of what truly mattered. He had helped her see that kindness, not wealth, was the key to real success. Sarah's art was no longer a side project. It was her life's work. And she had Richard to thank for showing her that even the wealthiest among us can lose sight of what's important. In helping her, he had found a way to fill the emptiness that had haunted him for so long. This story proves that kindness, no matter how small, can change everything. It's not about wealth or status. It's about the impact we have on each other's lives. What will your act of kindness be today? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more inspiring stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It together, we can change the world with one act of kindness at a time.